And welcome to the Hot Bizfluent podcast, where we get all up in your business. So let's talk. Today's guests are brought to you by Crush City Realty Group, your premier Houston real estate experts, and luxury real estate agent Elissa Emmons, where everything she touches turns to sold. And finally, Covo Capital, fast, flexible financing for all your commercial lending needs. This podcast is for informational purposes only. The views expressed in this podcast may not be those of the Bizfluent podcast or management. Don't forget to stay to the end to find out how to get some of our amazing merch. Now let's get down to business.
Hey, everybody. Well, it is the last episode of the year, and unfortunately, our healthcare person, she had to bail out. She got the flu because why? Because it's 80 degrees outside. It's going to be 48 in the morning. And then before the end of the day, it's going to be another 120 degrees. I don't know. Welcome to freaking Houston, where we keep everybody well.
This weather's terrible.
Yeah. But it don't worry. Tomorrow it'll change. You don't have to wait till tomorrow, Josh.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Good, because I'm tired of turning my AC back on.
I don't mind the heat. That is where I thrive. I love the warm weather. The roller coaster is not where I thrive, and the dense fog that we have had the past couple of days
bad.
Is really crazy. And
I like that because we live close to the water, and all I hear is "Wow." It's so cool. I love it. I love that part.
So it's just So Lori has the flu because it's that time of year.
Yeah, it is definitely that kind of
It happens. And man, we're getting ready to go out to do our family, like extended family Christmas. And all week I've just been, and I have a niece that is 2 months old. So all week I've just been like trying to make sure the kids, we're washing our hands. We're not touching friends. We're just keeping distance. Like let's
don't kiss
safe.
the head. Don't kiss the head. Don't kiss the head.
Oh, no. Yes. No, I don't do that with the baby because
I don't know of any child that I've ever been around that passed away that every mother, grandmother, aunt, uncle, and everybody in between didn't just be like, oh, look at the baby. And then now they're like, oh, things could happen. It's like,
so there's a podcast that I listen to, and the host of that podcast, her older sister, when she was a child, was kissed on the head. And so she has ended up, she is still alive, but she is severely changed.
From a kiss on the head?
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah. Is there more context that you can reveal?
She has severe disabilities, mental disabilities.
From a kiss on the
So
head.
what does she get though?
I can't remember.
Oh, what a letdown. This story was going to be good.
It was. I mean, I don't want to call it fake news because obviously somebody was affected by her.
No, it is not fake news. She's told the whole story before.
I mean, it sucks, but so
was there a viral thing? Was there a?
It's like someone with a cold sore.
Okay.
And so then kiss the baby. So it's not necessarily that the baby got cold sores, but like the virus that was within the cold sore then got in the baby, and the baby couldn't.
Okay.
Fend it off. So now there's severe disabilities.
I'm tracking that. Okay.
And as an adult now, they are not able to live on their own. So
wow.
So after hearing that story, now that I know someone that's actually been through it, and it's not just an old wives' tale, I don't kiss the heads.
I mean, my mom dropped me on my head as a child, and nothing happened.
That's not true. She had to replace the tile.
And that's a legitimate story. She had one of those front pouches, the kangaroo pouch or whatever. And she was in, I guess they were still in Boston. And she leaned over, and I fell out on my head. So I probably would have been brilliant if it wasn't for that, because I already have a pretty high IQ, but I think it would have been like double, triple if only I wasn't dropped on my head. So
somebody told Josh
I cannot imagine how she felt after that.
She was mad that she didn't execute her baby. She was like, man, if only I'd finished them off.
Finish him.
It's a topic that continues.
So like when I was a kid, if mine's even
Now my
worse.
mom loves me.
So when
Not
I
as
was
much as my sister, but
a kid, she tried to finish you. Finish
that's
you.
right. That's right.
Like, it's like, what's the Mortal Kombat move for killing babies? It is
And you can.
So when I was a kid, I remember my mom, I guess I was 4.5, 5. And my mom had gone into the shower and she was like, hey, watch your sister. And she'd left her in her car chair or car seat. And for some reason, we had a metal folding chair that my mom sit her on. And so I don't know why I thought it would be really cool. I thought it would be really cool to push the car seat as close to the edge as I could and not make it fall off and then go back and forth, like back and forth and back and forth. Oh, I found the tipping point. In the tipping point, she fell and before we had all the cushions and stuff on every potential hurting head spot in the house, you know, my parents had a coffee table with this really sharp corner on it. And it gashed my sister's head open. And she was like 2 months or 3 months old. Rushed to the emergency room. I mean, I felt horrible. I still don't think.
I feel like that's why I've never met your sister. That might be the reason.
Yeah.
She didn't come around.
No, my sister and I get along great now that we don't live together and we're both adults. So, yeah. It took us being adults, but no, definitely. I also pulled the sheets out from underneath her one time, and she hit her head on that same coffee table. I tried to kill her with the coffee table twice.
Did we get rid of the coffee table eventually?
No, eventually my wife and I wound up getting it. So it was a really old coffee table.
Memory.
It's downstairs right now.
Do you have any brothers or sisters, Elissa?
I have a half brother.
A half brother.
Yes, so he's 9 years older than me, and we've only ever lived together when he was in Houston going to the Art Institute. So I was a teenager. I think I was in high school when he was there.
So you never tried to kill him? Because I actually have a story that I actually tried to kill my sister and she tried to kill me too. So I'm thinking this is a common thing.
No.
Maybe it's just me and JP.
Yeah.
Yeah, my sister we were at Garner State Park, you know, years of going to Garner, and she put our microwave was one of those ones where it was a turn dial and it would go to 60, and she thought that was seconds. It was more 60 minutes. I'm in the top bunk in the trailer. We had an RV, a vacation RV that we brought up there. I'm in the top bunk. And so I wake up just gagging, smoke in my lungs, not fire, but smoke everywhere because she had put a bagel in for 60 minutes. And I'm running around. My sister's not even there. And I'm in my underwear running down to some random neighbors going, I don't know what happened. Like, my thing's on fire. I just woke up. And he goes in, pulls out this bagel. My sister comes back at that point, and she's like, I go, what the hell? She goes, I was scared, so I ran.
I thought maybe she just like put it in there and was like, okay, a minute. Yeah, that'll be great. I'm going to run out here and go, get something.
Nah, she saw it smoking. She knew what was going on. And she was like, I'm gone. Peace. So then in return, later on, I remember she had a friend over, and I had the friend's brother was with me, and they kept banging on our door. And I was like, I'm going to get them. And so I had this long piece of wire for whatever reason. I don't know why. I used to mess with electronics and whatnot. And so I tied it to the doorknob, and then we took it over, and I had needle nose pliers, and we were testing it. And I pulled the plug out just a little bit and then tapped the wire to the plug. And of course, it sparks and flames go up the thing. All our power goes out. And my mom was like, are you guys okay? And we're like, yeah. She's like, I don't know what happened. We're like, we don't know either. We quickly wound it up, threw it under the bed. And I'm like, man, it's a good thing she didn't touch that door when we did it, because she would have been
toast.
Different. She would have had a different hairstyle.
Oh, wow.
Let's put it that way. So I almost got her back.
So funny thing. Talking about doors. So when I was in high school, basically from intermediate school all the way through high school, I took martial arts. I took martial arts for a long time in my life, and so I was still, big for my size or whatever, and always a little chunky. But I was that fat guy that could like throw his feet like way above his head and have no problems kicking 6.5, 7 feet in the air. And I guess I was like 16, and I'd gone over to my best friend in high school's house, and I was waiting on him to come home. So I was gonna ambush him just because I thought it'd be fun. He was always in martial arts too. And as the door opens and this guy walks through, I throw a kick and land it right on this dude's head. It sounded like I kicked a melon, you know, and I was like, oh my God, Taylor. And then I opened the door all the way, and it was his mom's boyfriend.
Good.
And I kicked him right across the eye, just bam. and I'm sitting there, I'm dying laughing because it's funny. Like, oh my God. Anyway, yeah. I've brought plenty of people pain in their
You're just abusive, man.
Apparently. Like, everybody's be like, Floor, blink twice. Oh,
the joys of friendships and sibling rivalries.
yeah.
So, Josh, I wanted to ask you. You had a big event this weekend that you've organized. What annual number was this? Fifth, sixth?
This was the fifth.
Okay.
So, and it almost died last year. Thank God it didn't.
Why? Well, tell us about what it is that you do.
Sure.
It looked amazing, and how it grew to where it is now.
Yeah, it blows my mind away every year, how big this thing has gotten with just 5 years under our belt. But last year, the reason it almost didn't was because I went and owned a bar, and that was far away, about 2 hours away, and really became too big a part of our lives for the return we were getting and the partnership we were in. So I was actually strongly talked into continuing to do it last year, and we somehow made time around having concerts and everything else at this bar venue, and then coming home immediately Sunday and still organizing this. And thank God it already had traction, from the years prior. So most people knew it was coming and whatnot. And so we were able to kick it off for the 4th year last year, and then the 5th year this year. And basically what we do is it started during COVID. A whole bunch of people wanted to get together and go look at Christmas lights. And, but obviously COVID was around, so you couldn't get in other people's vehicles or whatnot. So we just kind of had a train of cars going to look at Christmas lights. And I can't even remember why, but I had a huge sack of those Lifesaver size mints, wintergreen mints. And, and we also decided to decorate our vehicles. So the golf carts decorated their golf carts, the cars decorated their cars, and we just went around to go look at Christmas lights. Well, as we're going around and honking and waving at people that just happened to be out, kids would run out, and I'd just throw them some mints, and I think some other people ended up getting some candy. And it went from that to toys and candy. And I would say the first year we had about 15. This last year, we probably had less vehicles per se. I think we had about 40 or 50 this year. But the amount of people that have come out that have created parties around this, one of the neighborhoods, when we go down there was probably at least 70 people with 4 or 5 parties going on. They had a snow machine blowing. They even got us to pass through twice because I have to go. When you enter in, there's a cul-de-sac. You turn around, then you go right back through these same kids. So I thought about that this year. I was like, man, they're getting like a whammy. But they go all out, so I'm not too upset about it. But I mean, this year, literally from the start, it was almost nonstop kids outside, waiting for presents. And I'm probably now up to about, I had estimated 1,000 for this year, but I think we probably spent about 1,300 on toys and not much candy. Most of the candy gets donated and everybody else brings their candy. but the hot cocoa bar, which actually failed this year because the warmers we had are for water, and we were putting milk in, so they were burning the milk. So we ended up not having hot cocoa. It was more cold cocoa.
Oh,
but we had carolers too.
Warm, so it was fine.
Yeah, it was warm, burnt cocoa, and then
the weather full. It was.
The weather was
warm
awesome.
outside.
The weather was awesome. The weather was awesome. And then we buy outfits. So I've got a reindeer that's a full body. I had the Santa, but I accidentally packed it because of the garage fire. I forgot that I put it in the pod, so I had to recruit a Santa. And so my good buddy Brian decided he'd help out this year, so he was Santa. And then we had a Grinch, and then I had a whole bunch of blow up Christmas outfits that you put the little blow up battery pack in and it stays blown up. We had like a gingerbread man. We had a Christmas bear, polar bear. We had a whole bunch, and they burned up in the fire, so I didn't have those. So I gotta restock. So our goal next year is to involve businesses and get some car clubs out, because we've every once in a while, every year we have one or two that'll be like a unique vehicle too, and I think those would be cool to get more of them in. Same thing with the Jeepers, getting the Jeepers to participate. But it's just, I mean, I do it because to see these kids run out, and in fact, actually, Amy had the map. She was leading the parade. She missed a street this year, and several people were like, my kids were waiting out for an hour. And man, part of me is like, guys, I put this together as a volunteer. It's my money. Like, I'm not doing it to skip your kids. Part of me was like, man, I don't want some kids thinking that Santa missed them. So I wrote out, I was like, hey, if your kids got missed, just let me know. I've got, a couple toys left. I'll put it in a bag, and I'll put a letter from Santa saying, even Santa makes mistakes, and
that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Because again, I don't want the kids to, feel like Santa missed them or something. And the two people that had said something said, nah, don't worry about it. We understand. And so yeah, luckily I didn't have to go.
Yeah. They need that quick touch of reality of like the reminder of,
yeah, we're doing this
time and their money.
Like we're doing this for spirit, and I don't do it for thanks. I don't do it for anything. I do it because it's fun, and I love seeing kids. I mean, I don't have kids, so this is my opportunity I'm an uncle, a Tio and Tia. Me and my wife are Tio and Tia to several of our friends' kids, and even though we're not blood related, we're considered family, and so it's just a way to give back. I love it. I think it's amazing. I wish we could do a bigger version, but golf carts only have so much range.
Yeah.
So next year we're also thinking of, well, it has to maintain the Christmas light portion where we're looking at Christmas lights, but I think we're going to thin out the ride. So instead of going down every street, going down the main street so we can expand a little bit further. We just can't go across 146 is one of the big problems. But if we can make a little bit less windy track but bigger, I think we might do that next year. I've got to see, because it's about an hour and a half, hour and 20 minutes.
Have you thought about doing some like door hangers or door knockers to let people know that they are on the trail?
We post a route, but like I said this year, and told them, I said, hey, it might change. If there's not a lot of lights on that street, we're going to limit and not go down that street, because it's just going to be a waste of everybody's time. And just, make sure your kids go to a main street. The other part of it was we have two viewing spots. The front one always gets a ton of people. This year there was literally probably about 50 kids at it. And that's right as we cross over from Seascape going to Seascape 2 on Toddville.
Yep.
By the tennis parks. And then Friendship Park is the other place we tell people to go if they're not from Seabrook. And we have people attend that are not from Seabrook, but I think I've seen one person in 5 years go to Friendship Park, but that would be an awesome place to see it, because we literally come right out there and turn and then go into towards Lake Mesia and then back into Mystic Village and then over to Sea Ridge.
Yep.
So, but I probably saw. I got about 800 presents this year, and then everybody had candy, And I tried to get less breakable stuff this year because the year before I went on Amazon. I was like, I can get all this cheap plastic crap, but it broke everywhere. And I had some people going, hey, there's a lot of trash. So I was like, well, I won't go that cheap then. So we stick to things that we, although I had some really cool trucks. And the kids that were throwing this year with their parents in the back with Santa, because I was driving, they go, yeah, we threw one of them toy trucks and the kid was all excited and boom, it just like knocked out on the ground and just shattered into a million pieces. And I was like, oh, they're not that strong. So hopefully that kid was not traumatized. Hopefully they got other presents.
Yeah. They're not the best at catching.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the other thing we had this year was someone else in the group on Seabrook Island decided, I don't mind if other people do it, but they did the same day and around the same time a golf cart parade. And I was like, guys, come on. Like, I actually do. There's another guy that does a paddle boat, small boat on Lake Mesia parade. And we try and coordinate every year to not, do it at the same time.
Yeah.
So hopefully those people over in Seabrook Isle will, kind of coordinate a little better with us. But I mean, we still had like I said, a really good turnout and lots of people coming out. Everyone's kind of used to it now. And people are having these parties, like just amazing little parties with fire pits and
centered around your parade.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. And then we went out afterwards and my buddy Matt, he's like, man, I won't say it's about a lot of the stuff you've done, but you did good on this. I was like, yeah, pretty cool.
It's messed up. He's a man after my own heart anyway.
Oh, you met, and that's right. You met Matt. So Matt was the one talking shit.
Heck yeah.
But, yeah, we had a good time, man.
Elissa, what do you do for Christmas? What's your stick? What's your thing?
Well, we just have multiple, all of our family is local, except for my brother. So, this weekend we'll go out to my in-laws. One of my in-laws will do immediate family on Saturday, extended family Sunday. And then on Monday, we'll go up to my other set of in-laws, on the northeast side of town and do a little thing with them. And then my parents will come here to our house on Christmas Day.
Nice.
My dad makes us a seafood. So this is what's great. I host, but my dad brings the food. So he's going to bring seafood gumbo.
Mm.
And,
what day and time is this?
Christmas Day.
She's not that far away, dude. You could make it.
I know we're part of the family now, right?
Yeah, you can make it. You could make it on.
And it's never at like I don't know if this is a South Louisiana thing, but I feel like every time that side of the family gets together, we're not eating lunch or dinner. It's supper, and it's never like we're starving by the time we eat because you can't eat lunch because
and all the snacks through the day. Oof.
Yeah. So that's about it.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't have a whole lot of Christmas traditions, being empty nesters, and our kids are all being grown. So they're in the process of forming their own family traditions, especially the ones with all the babies. And so we're just trying to see where we fit in there. Only one of them here has had babies for 3 years, but his wife is uber pregnant, like ready to pop anytime between now and like January 15th or 18th, something like that. And then the other one, it's their first Christmas as parents. So, trying to figure out where they fit, how they fit, and where we fit in there with them is kind of our thing. So,
yeah, my in-laws that have the very, very large extended family. So on my husband's dad's side, he's one of 5 kids, and then his stepmom is one of 4, and we always do something with that group because they all lived very close together, close by whenever they were growing up. So what was it, probably about 9 years ago, my father-in-law, we were all getting together Christmas Day. So the first year that I had a child, we did Christmas morning at our house because I had newborn or
baby.
1-year-old. Yeah, I had a baby. Wanted to wake up at our house Christmas morning. So we did. And then we drove up to the north side of town to my in-laws' house. And then did Christmas with the immediate family. And then we go to Granny's house for lunch, and lunch is at noon. So that was a very hectic day. And my father-in-law was very kind, and they said, look, let's change this up. The Saturday before Christmas, every year, whatever the Saturday before is, unless it's Christmas Eve or the 23rd, then we'll push it a weekend before. But that'll be our day for our immediate family. And then the extended family on my stepmom's side gets together on the Sunday before Christmas. So it's
pretty
nice.
cool.
It's like I can look 5 years in the future, and I know what day we're doing Christmas.
Yeah, heck yeah, that is really cool.
And then it allows everyone to have their own family unit Christmas.
Well, the traditions. I mean, like the traditions that you form with your kid. Like all of my cousins and stuff like that, for the most part, lived elsewhere. I didn't have family here. And so my grandmother and grandfather lived here. But they literally just came to the house, sometime for lunch, dinner, whatever. But my parents always had like a very personal family Christmas. It was just me, my sister, who was not dead yet, multiple times. And, she's still not dead yet. I know that yet is there. I mean, I'm just working on things. There's plans in action. I'm just kidding. I did find out that the lady that I called my grandmother for years, I called this woman my grandmother for almost 40 years. My grandfather had married when I was 5 years old. My sister was not even born yet. So my sister called her grandma forever. And when my grandfather died this year, back in April or May, she pretty much disowned us and said, you guys aren't my family. Y'all tried to lock me up. And like she had really bad dementia, and found out on Sunday. Yeah, found out Sunday that she passed away 2 months ago, and we didn't even know.
I'm so sorry.
Did you ever meet her?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, I lived with her for 2 years. Yeah, no. She disowned us, and it was really, really weird. She was treating my grandfather really bad. It was really strange.
Was it the dementia? Or a portion of it, part of it?
So so you know how it is when you're a kid growing up, you don't see things the same way.
Yeah, true.
And so she was a control freak. I mean, like hardcore control freak. And so she was always telling my grandfather that we don't have any money, and he was just putting money into their joint account or whatever and never looking. And she'd be like, I got to pay this bill late, and I got to pay this bill late, and I got to pay this bill late. And yet they've got a $120,000 RV, and he's got like a super old truck, and the dog's always getting anyway. So it took him like 3 years to get dentures because of their money problems. And then she got into a really bad wreck, and my mom started really pitching in a lot, and my mother started pitching in. One of the things that she asked my mom to help her do was make sure she was taking care of the bills correctly. So then my mom started going through the bills and seeing all the late payments and all that stuff. And when she did, she was like, something's wrong. That just doesn't make any sense. So for probably like the last 10 years or more, her dementia has been hitting, but we just didn't see them all enough to realize that they had a lot more money than she thought they did.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was different. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not like jumping for joy for it, but I'm also not overly sad about it because of how poorly she treated us the last year or two.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's weird.
So I had it.
Insight into my life, everybody. Hey.
Well, I had a hidden story from my grandmother that I just found out last year, which was crazy, was my grandmother, who I call grandmother, is my step grandmother, really. But I had always known her as my grandmother, and I even knew my other grandmother. She stayed in our lives for the most part as grandma. So I had several grandmas growing up.
Mm-hmm.
But my step grandmother, all of a sudden, I got a Facebook message last year stating, "Hey, you don't know me, but I think that your grandmother is my grandmother as well." And I'm like, my grandmother never had kids. And so I finally called this person, talked through, and she kind of told me a little bit of the backstory. So I was like, well, I don't know if this is real or not. I'm not going to introduce her to my grandmother until I talk to my grandmother, because this is new to me. So I call my grandmother, and she's like, "Oh, are you sure about this?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she goes, "Well," she goes, "when I was very young, I had dated a man that was much older than me, and ended up getting pregnant. And back then, obviously, abortion was not a big thing at all, especially in Catholic families. And so what they would do is they would basically force you to go live with the nuns, and you would have a pregnancy through them. And then she had put this child up for adoption. And I guess she had, and this guy was much older too. And so the parents really didn't want them to be associated with this guy either.
Yeah.
And then she got into another abusive relationship and put another child up for adoption. Both of these children, she was told that she would never have connection with. They would never be able to find her, that she was giving them up to another family. And so she didn't think anything of it obviously she did, but didn't tell anyone else. I didn't know this. I don't even think my grandfather knew this. I'm not sure. My grandfather had passed since, so this wasn't even news to him when this actually he was dying at the time, so I don't think he ever found out about this. But he passed away, and then I introduced them, and yeah, this her dad, who was actually going through some cancer and was probably going to die as well, and who was not the one looking. His daughter, who's the one who contacted us, was stating, she's like, "I just really want to know, like, for family history, for health reasons, is there any health reasons we need to be concerned with genetically? I'm not looking for anything. If she doesn't want to have a relationship with us, that's fine."
Yeah.
I actually need to check up on that, because I know they were talking every once in a while. And I told her, I was like, "Hey, if you contact us, we're fine. We'd be more than happy to expand our family." So, being from Texas and being in the middle of everybody, it's kind of hard sometimes. You were speaking to that too. I was always jealous of my cousins, because up north in New York, New Jersey, they all got together probably more than every year. I got to go see them probably once every other year. So I'm thankful my parents did take me. But it's something to be in one of those families where you can literally get together with extended cousins, aunts and uncles, grandma and grandpa.
Dude, when we go to New Jersey, man, I can't throw a rock into Elizabeth without hitting one of my three. There are three other of my wife's cousins. I'm like, they're all so close. Like, they don't get together all the time, but like, while we were there for Thanksgiving, three or four of the cousins came over. We had a house full of nieces and nephews. It was just one of those things where it's just like, holy crap. The only people that weren't there were our kids, outside of that, the whole family was there, and it was really cool. It's been a long time since I've had that kind of experience, and it was really, really awesome.
Yeah. 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 I kind of got it when I married my wife, but then they had a falling out because of Amy's mom passing, and she was kind of the matriarch of that family and the glue.
Yeah.
So when she passed, I know a lot of her cousins and whatnot had some false blames. And it's sad that they, don't talk as much, but that's life. So you got to build an extended family. And I think that's the amazing part about around here is we've gotten to know so many people that are now somewhat filling that void as far as family that, I would consider them family. I mean,
heck yeah, absolutely. We've got a lot of our friends that are way.
You're at least a cousin, JP. You're at least a cousin.
Yeah. You only say that you say that because you're hoping I'm your second.
Not a blood cousin.
Like, yeah, no. Melissa, do you got to bail out?
Yeah, I gotta run.
I know
But y'all
you
have a very Merry Christmas.
Just like our family.
Leaving us all the time. Oh my god. Well, give Jonathan a high five for me. Tell him Merry Christmas.
Will do. Y'all have a great day. I'm gonna go run to a school.
Yay.
Yay.
Christmas spirit.
Yeah.
We won't get too raunchy without Mother Teresa here.
Good. That's all I can do for you.
Oh, I felt that.
Yeah, I know, right? Benediction right there. She was like,
my face got red. I'm burning in hell. Oh shit.
Oh man. No, dude. So I got to tour the Kemah police, or not the Kemah, dummy. I don't live in Kemah. I live in Seabrook. I got to tour the Seabrook Police Department today. Got to talk to Chief Nelson, and I got to talk to Councilman Rob Hefner, I believe, and have some good times there.
Was that the welcoming thing for the potential candidates?
Nope.
No, you just did it on your own.
Yeah.
That's cool.
One of the ladies that I talked to here in the area is she helps coordinate a lot of things for us. And so one of the things she did was she had been invited by Rob talking about the new potential $15 million bond that they want to have passed to be able to start a new police station. And the thing is I'm so torn, honestly. Like if I'm 100% honest about it, I'm so torn. And it's kind of one of the things that really does play into business, and something that people should really be thinking about. Like when you start looking at getting involved in your local businesses and your local communities, is I'm really torn, because as a citizen, I'm like, that's a $15 million bond. And like, we're talking, like, that's a lot of money to spend for a small city, especially. I mean, we're talking there's only 14,000 people here in Seabrook. It's not quite 14,000, but whatever. And so like, that's a lot. It's a big burden to put on the people of Seabrook. And so the question is how are we going to pay for it? And nobody really has an answer. They just know that we need to do it. And like I told Chief Nelson today, it's like, I really get it. I do. Like I walked through the police station today, and was it a nice police station in 1996 when it was built? Absolutely it was. Is it now? No. It's been almost 30 years. You'd think a police station should last longer than that, but they've outgrown it. And honestly, with the new bypass expansion, they're going to need to grow even more. And it's just not set up well. There are some very legitimate concerns he has when you talk about, when you start talking about safety of the officers, safety of the prisoners, the safety of the community during massive flooding issues that we may have around here in Seabrook, like we've got. How much water was in your house tonight?
Man, that was conflicting, because the guy who was here, his son-in-law was the insurance agent for him. And some people said we got flooded maybe an inch or two. Some people said that he sprayed water and unscrewed light bulbs. So I don't know exactly. I feel like my head's on crooked. Sorry. I'm like,
I think it's funny. I think it's funny that you think your head was ever screwed on straight.
It probably wasn't. It's a little crooked, man. I'm like, what the hell? Yeah, so I don't really know that answer. And as far as the police station, like I'm with you. Like, I think if the police need it and deserve it, it's hard to say no. Mm-hmm. The problem I have is that in the bigger picture of things, a city always runs with deficits of things that they need to fix that they just can't fix. So it becomes a priority issue. And what's the bigger priority in that city? And my thing is, you're taking 15 million to invest in a police station that, while it does secure us, are we already being secured so it becomes a comfort thing or a efficiency thing within the police station?
So here's the
How
thing.
do you
right?
support that 15 million if you start losing residents, if you're losing businesses, if you're it's a catch 22.
So here's the way we have to look at this, and it's kind of one of the points I brought up. We're currently 4 officers shy. That means we have 2 officers off of one shift and 1 officer off of 2 other shifts that we're currently missing. We need more. We should be increasing it by another 4 to 5 officers, so another couple officers per shift, and it's felt. I have not seen so many wrecks. I have seen so many people in this area that just blatantly run red lights, blatantly run stop signs. It's getting worse. It's not getting better. And it's because they know that there's not enough cops. There's never a Seabrook cop around when you need them.
Well, and thankfully, we're a city of very low crime, and that is the worst of our
2
situation most of the time. It's uptick because, you've got those apartments starting to add more Section 8 in order to take advantage of the HUD programs. And honestly, I think that's deceitful the way they're doing it. But I think Houston and Texas in general is going to address that problem sooner rather than later. So I think it's going to take care of itself. I am definitely a little perturbed that our own city manager was not aware of this till the last second. That's something she's paid to be aware of. Ergo, another reason I'm not in favor or fan of our city manager. But I look at priorities. I mean, where do you think that my priority is to get a growth oriented city council in the first place? My step 2 would be get rid of the city manager and get a city manager who understands growth, even if you have to pay them more. And I think she's overpaid.
Yeah, so I don't even think it's necessarily just about a city manager that.
I think she's too comfortable to where she's making some judgments that are maybe not illegal. In fact, definitely. Well, I don't want to say definitely. I don't know because there's only so much you know. I don't think she's done anything illegal, but she's definitely done things that are of the nature of a conflict of interest. And the fact that she's too comfortable and she's so willing. I mean, she wants to put her name on these big projects. If she gets the $15 million done for the police, she's got her name on a big project. But that's not why you're doing it. You're doing it because either the police need it or they need efficiencies or whatever else. Since I've been here for 10, 11 years now, I think.
Yeah.
They've always been short on police. So it's not a problem that has been it's a reoccurring problem anyways.
Well, I mean, so there's other ways to bring police officers to our city too, right? So like they don't want to be the city that overpays, but they don't want to be the city that underpays. So they always try to keep in line. And so, okay, so if we're not running a super tight budget, and we can look and say, okay, how much is $15 million going to cost us? They're talking about getting grants and stuff like that. And so how much our actual debt services would be, I don't have a clue. But I know for a fact there's a way for us to pull a number up and say, hey, what is our debt services actually going to look like on a monthly basis or a yearly basis, whichever it is, and say, do we have the ability to, before we do that, say, hey, let's spend the money on officers package.
Well, they did go over this in the last meeting, and they have a debt service coverage. What do you call it? Graphic, whatever you want to see, chart. And they're about to recoup $7 million, I believe, somewhere around $7 million from the past. I think since 2009, some of these expenditures were on the books, so they're about to come back off. But they just raised taxes, and this is why they discussed it, was because they were saying we raised taxes, but if everything goes to plan over the next 12 years, it'll go back down to this. Well, here's the problem. It's BS because you're taking away the $7 million, but you're already talking about the $15 million and the $3 to $4 million for the pool and however much else money over projects, because you can have a project every year, 2 years.
$2 million on the pier.
Yep.
I mean,
which has been pushed off several times. So you're talking about a $15, $20, $23 million swing, but you're recouping $7.
Yeah.
So
tripling.
My thing,
tripling
And here's the thing: we're losing taxes. So those apartments that I mentioned, that's about $2 million by the time they're all incorporated and transferred over this program. That's about a little over $2 million in taxes we're losing. That's a huge hit for a small town. Then you don't have no businesses. I mean, if you go walk through or drive through, there's no growth. There's no businesses. The Margaritaville is in limbo, probably not happening.
No. They've already got the property back on the market.
Oh, so it's done. Yeah, because it's even off Margaritavilles. Then you got the other complex that's over by near the Circle, the rep store. That was supposed to be a big project. Supposedly, it's still in process. But I mean, I think the focus really should be, especially knowing with 146 being done, you can bet your bottom dollar we're going to start seeing some crime, more crime.
Absolutely.
And so police is important. But if we just throw the money at the police, but we keep losing the tax base, eventually you're going to be paying an arm and a leg to live here. And yeah, you might have some police here, but you're going to have no one's going to want to stay.
What'll happen is the exact opposite of what my expectation was. My expectation was the bypass gets built and our city explodes. So we have the exact opposite effect. We could actually have and turn around, and instead of the bypass getting built and our city exploding, it could implode and literally just crater and turn into the slum of Clear Lake.
And I would like to see a fine, firm answer on, because my thought is, okay, and this happens all the time with smaller cities. If our city starts to implode and it can be annexed by another city, likely Pasadena, then what happens? Is that a likelihood? What happens when that happens? Is the city manager, do they gain anything from that happening? Is there a payout of her contract when another city? Because I would think that would be a negative thing. I would dock her pay if I could, if we got bought out by another city. My thing is, there's no one that comes to Seabrook that doesn't see it as an opportunity and a great place to live. The sad part is we're backwards. We've created this city and town that has some amazing wildlife, but we're right next to the refineries. So it's a give and take. But here's the thing. Deer don't pay taxes. Squirrels don't pay taxes. Raccoons don't pay taxes. Pigs don't pay taxes. In fact, they hit my car and cost me money while they're running across the road. Only happened once, but still. So my thing is, and my hope is for the city is to get a forward-thinking city council that's ready to enact, because every day we wait, the longer we wait to enact these things, the further we're already behind. So the further behind we'll get. And
I mean, to be more honest, this stuff should have been wrapped up before 146 was finished.
Should have been done.
The thoughts, the projections.
This should be go. This should be go time right now.
Dude, yeah, we should be pulling triggers. We shouldn't be talking about it. And that's kind of one of the other things that I told the city councilman that we met with today. I was like, the problem is your framing. Your framing is horrible. Y'all suck at framing. And he's like, well, we're not supposed to voice an opinion about each project. I'm like, you don't have to voice an opinion. You have to give enough information or offer different viewpoints. It's okay to say, hey, by the way, where the freezer warehouse is going in, that's pissing a lot of people off, including you and your wife, were the people that didn't want the freezer warehouse. But the thing is you didn't frame it very well. You didn't provide a lot of information for the people, and you didn't say, hey, here's some other really good opportunities we could use. By the way, help expand the police force, get 4 or 5 new officers, make them DOT certified, get mobile scales, post them down there on the corner, keep all the traffic from that out of the area, keep it off of Red Bluff.
They tend to present it almost like a secret sometimes. Like you can kind of tell what they want monetarily.
Right.
Because they hide it. And my thing is, if they are transparent about it and go, here's the good, here's the bad. This is why we think it's positive for the city and the overall good. These will obviously be issues. And here's how we're going to mitigate those issues. But they need to come out straightforward and say, hey, here, and they should have an opinion. The city council should say, hey, we are in favor of this. We back this as a city council because of this, and here's the problems, and here's how we're going to mitigate. If they don't,
unfortunately, that's illegal. And I don't disagree with you that I think they should be able to, but unfortunately by state law, it's illegal.
They're not allowed to list an opinion?
No. And it's a criminal offense. So
Wow.
they cannot say, hey, here's a program I back and here's the reasons why. Here's a program I don't back and here's the reason why. What they have to do is they have to say, here's the program, here's the pros and cons as far as the city sees it, but you cannot have an opinion.
Even that's fine as long as it's transparent.
Exactly. And that's the thing is, right? So again, you can present facts and not opinion and still frame it. I mean, to be honest, that's the best framing possible, is to frame things with facts and say, hey, look, this freezer warehouse brings in an additional $300,000 a year in revenue. That's $300,000 a year that you use to cover taxes that people would have to
and
pay.
We're losing too. So, I mean, that's the thing too, is if we're losing these, we shouldn't have to take these things. And it's the same reason why they got the property annexed to expand the plants. The port was lost from Seabrook to Pasadena. We didn't have a choice in that either. But we waited so long on these things that we didn't have the choice. We never made preemptive decisions, and we're always playing from behind, which is kind of the negative. We need people that are thinking ahead, and it's hard to do because, again, it's a volunteer city council.
We all have jobs. We all have lives.
We all have jobs and lives on the side. But the people that are taking it, for the most part, I think they're taking it for somewhat of an ego thing. It doesn't need to be an ego thing. It needs to be you're willing to sacrifice the extra time and money, because it takes money for you to go to these meetings, go to the different things. I mean, there's a financial cost too, and you're not getting paid for it. So they need to realize that that's what it's about. It's not about an ego thing. It's not about they're my friends. Not about I'm going to gain all this stuff out of it. It's about you're going to sacrifice to make this town better. That's what if I don't see that on a platform when they're going to run for it, I don't want to vote for them.
No, because I don't. That's the thing is, it's like, so it's not. I haven't
look at what happened with the EDC board.
Yeah,
you had a commercial real estate broker and you willing to do it. You have my wife, who's a executive in construction and sales all around this area, and yet they chose a friend of the city manager who has some experience in putting together parties or something.
Yeah, something. I mean, even then, like, so she has her own business, but I mean, that's like, okay, fine. So she owns her own business, so I can understand how she could do some EDC stuff, and I get it. But at the same time,
owning a business and recruiting business is two different things.
Exactly. Well, so here's the thing, but here's the other thing is, like, look, here's the deal. At the end of the day, your EDC should not necessarily be opposition to city council, but you should be trying to figure out how to spend every potential dollar to bring in more business. And you should be trying to come up with new ways to get new business in. Like the Miramar Center that they're going to spend $300,000 on to redo the parking lot and all that stuff for Taco Bell coming in. I mean, come on. The Taco Bell is going to bring in some good cash. I agree with that. It's going to bring an extra fast food restaurant here, which none of us are particularly like. But at the same time,
I do at 1 o'clock in the morning. and guess what? I won't give a shit what the road looks like. 1 o'clock in the morning. Oh, it's so pretty. Give me my bean burrito. No beans.
Extra red sauce.
Extra red sauce. Yeah. I mean, 300,000. Jesus.
Just to do that's just parking lot and lights.
That's what they're gifting on a grant or the city's
EDC.
Wow.
So, but here's the thing is that thing needs
for a company that was already coming here.
They refused to come unless it was done. And then the freaking owner of the building couldn't do it or refused to do it unless EDC would chip in. So it's kind of like, yeah, I mean, so the thing is it would be kind of nice to have a facade lift. So I wouldn't be opposed to it if we could get a facelift on Miramar Center to bring in more business, because man, you look at that place and it's like, ew.
Businesses do this. Obviously, time is money. A lot of people don't have the time for this, and we're a small town, so you have a small pool to pull from. So even if the EDC was going to be made up of these people, they should still have an advisory board. an advisory board of developers, an advisory board of local investors, things of that nature that know the nature and know where to push and pull.
So why are we even talking about that crap? Start with the top down. Top down. Don't go bottom up. Top down. So top down, your city manager's job is to save as much money and make frugal decisions when it comes to anything business related for the city.
Well, they all their job is, and especially for a small one, is to literally make sure that the city runs. They
Correct.
shouldn't be. They shouldn't even be
But
going.
in order to
up
do
against
that,
your
you should be
problem.
able to hit. You should be able to hit your budgets, though. Like that's part of that. And so the thing is this: if that's really the case, then you are already at odds with the fact that you're also the head of this EDC, because the head of the EDC should be trying to get the business or the cities to spend as much money as possible on bringing in new business. You can't have one and the other be the same person. It doesn't work.
Oh yeah, no, 100%.
Kima tried it, failed. Laporte tried it, failed. Webster tried it, failed. Do you know who's booming now? Webster. I mean, and Webster's got a prime is not as residential as we are, but we want to be a good mix. I'd prefer to see us be.
And there's not as much retail and commercial space, so we should be prime. I mean, obviously we don't have as much of a population, so that's a negative hit. But the fact that we only have so much property to make these decisions, we should be able to get the most for our money.
And they're talking about residential delivery. They're still trying to talk about residential development coming in here. And I'm like, what? We don't need multifamily. This is supposed to be a like little
I wouldn't mind some condos. That brought in some wealth and vacationers, because that's what we if they want this sleepy town / whatever, then bring in the right type of people. Building more apartment complexes, you're going to, no matter even if they're an A grade, whatever, you're going to get the wrong. I mean, even the towers that we have, there's some riffraff that has come from that. Those are not cheap. And those are not cheap apartments.
No, those are cocaine heaven. So,
yep.
I mean, so the thing is,
I get some great deals over there. No? I'm kidding.
So but the thing is honestly, condos that really honestly push for Airbnb. What's wrong with having condos that really do push to allow Airbnb? Whereas like the condos I live in, we do not allow Airbnb. Minimum 6 month rental terms. Like they don't even do 1 month rental terms. Minimum 6 month rental terms. And they just do not allow Airbnb. And it's like, why? Do you know? Like I
can tell you the reason why, because VRBO is different. Some of these other ones are different, but because Airbnb still exists and they can't go no peer-to-peer, or they can't say specifically peer-to-peer, Airbnb has really run that market because they're letting people in. You can't charge a deposit with Airbnb. There's certain things you just can't do. And some of these owners are just getting killed on bad renters.
But I mean, hold on. That's part of investing though, too.
Yeah. There's risks.
I mean, I'm sorry, but you buy a place that you plan on renting out. I don't care if you plan on renting it out a year, 5 years, 10 years, or 3 days. There's always a risk. And that's the reason why it's called investing and not promise of money.
Yeah, but now you even have the cut from the city. If you have Airbnb, it's not like you get the full profits anymore. You also have to pay a tax to the cities. I mean, there's a lot less margin than what there used to be. Did you just say?
Yeah, correct. There's a lot less margin than there used to be. But did you just say that? Hey, there's tax coming into the cities. It's hot tax. It's a hot fund. Hotel occupancy tax.
And there's another issue. Our hotels. I mean, here's the thing. If the hotels are not surviving, then we have no business here. That's literally the biggest red flag out there, is that our hotels are failing. All of them. If all our hotels are failing, our businesses are not doing well because we have nobody, and they're punishing the wrong people for minuscule amounts of disturbance. I mean, that should be the biggest red flag. I mean, Bard should be supported 100%. And all the people complaining about the noise should go, hey, you're in an area in a home where you're in our entertainment district. I'm sorry.
And to be honest, the thing is Barge has the potential to be the biggest freaking venue.
It can be a huge draw, man. If they just let it go.
The damn park, or the damn place where Floppy Pets is, and it sucks that Floppy Pets is going out of business, but that should be turned into a parking garage. Seriously. 3-story parking garage.
You could do mixed use. You could get a parking garage and more and better businesses in there, but they're not even enforcing the rules that we have in place to punish places like that. So,
Right.
I mean, it's just there's a lot. That's the problem. We can talk all day about how much the police do deserve what they deserve, especially our local ones. But there's just so many dang fires. And how has this not been an issue with the city manager? That if there's all these fires going on and none of them are being taken care of, and then we're trying to come up with these other bigger projects that we can't even afford, really. You know, 7 million to 15 million doesn't make sense if you're going to say you're going to lower my taxes. You're not going to lower my taxes.
7 million to 23 million.
Yeah, to 23 million. Yeah, you're math's off. You probably shouldn't have the job since you don't know math.
Yeah.
So, and then the fact that you don't want to have transparency with the city, especially a small city. I mean, when I heard that she wanted to get rid of the video, I was like, man, that's deliberately asking. I mean, not everyone can make it up to those meetings, but they can see those videos.
Well, so there's a number of problems we have there, right? It's like number one, first and foremost, like, hey, you're denying access. And number two, even the times, like the weird times are denying access. Like I don't see why we can't zoom in people or something along the line. You can still do it on YouTube. You can still do both.
Some do. Some allow that. Some are getting rid of it too.
But I mean, you know, it's one of those things like, hey, well, you need to be able to make it. If it's that important to you, hold on. Sometimes putting food on the table is more important to people.
Well, and at the end of the day, and you see this in all the city council meetings across the board, school, city, townships, all these things, you're seeing it more and more. And I think this speaks to the biggest problem is the right people are not getting involved because they just don't. Right. They say they don't have the time. What those people are forgetting is you may have done it. And so you get some of your stuff pushed forward. Your opinion matters, but it doesn't matter over everybody else's. Your job is still to listen to all the people there. And even if you're not in favor of it, but everybody else seems to be, and they're complaining and they're writing in and they're showing up to the meetings or whatever else, that's your job. Not your position, not your opinion, everybody else's. And everybody else sees this shit. Sorry for the language,
but that's what I like. So that's the whole point, right? So that's what I said. Is like, you know, I definitely I understood how some of the voting has gone. It's like, look, I completely and totally would fight for certain things. Like I would love to see the police get a brand new station. I really would. I think that it's forward thinking. I don't like the area that it's going into personally. I don't have a problem with it necessarily or specifically, but I also don't find it a favorable spot. For some reason, I couldn't say favorable. I don't find it a favorable spot. But at the same time, I'm like, hey, look, you know, the deal is regardless of what my personal opinion is, if you hear from enough people and the people say we do want it or we don't want it, then you vote against it because that's what they want.
And you should be seeking their opinion, not hiding from it.
And that's I literally told Rob Hefner today. I said I hadn't named him yet, but so I literally told him today. That was one of the things I specifically said. I said, you know, y'all's problem is, and it might not, you might not like me telling you this, but I'm telling you, the viewpoint from us is that y'all stand up on top of that at that stage and say, y'all are basically too stupid to understand that this is the right thing, and that's why we're voting for it. That's exactly how they come across. That we, the citizens, are too stupid to understand. And that's why they need to use their power to vote for things that we don't get.
Yeah. And that's ridiculously wrong. And then, and here's the thing. If that was true, again, the whole seek for their information, then you've got a transparency issue and you have a communication issue. Because if they don't understand it, then that's on you, because you should be making sure that they understand it and that they are getting the proper information and then it's not last minute. So, I mean, it blows my mind sometimes. Like, even when I was on HOA and we were talking about stuff, I was like, okay, well, let's get this out. And, you know, recently, you know, I'm not on the HOA anymore. I left. I thought I had everything set up. They decided that they wanted to go a different route and they wanted to go with a property management company. And I was like, I get it if you guys want to do that because it is supposedly a little less work, but just be cautious because they will penny pinch everything. They'll nickel and dime you, not penny pinch. They'll nickel and dime.
That's how they make their money.
Yep. And I warned them. And sure enough, $10,000 gone in the first 2 months of all of these charges they were getting. We only had about 50, 60 in the bank. And that was something we got. We were losing money every year when I took over, and we started improving and saving money and setting a budget. And when they lost that money, they didn't say anything to anybody. So I made a post, and I was very, very polite. I was like, this is important for the everybody to know so that they can speak up and say, do they really want to keep going and jumping to another property management company? And they put it in the agenda, and they freaking went to another property management company. Now I don't know what's happened since.
Y'all are too stupid to understand. What we're voting.
We don't want the conflict. We don't want the argument. That's your job. Your job is not to do things and just make it run.
Right.
Your job is to implement the things that the people want, right or wrong, and that's what you back. Because it's not one person. It's in our case with the HOA. I would say this all the time. Like there's 270 of us. I do it for 270 people. If the majority of those people don't want to do it, then my plans get put on the back burner. Unless I just go out and do some stuff myself and put the money in and everything else. But if I'm going to spend the community's money, same thing with the city, then the city gets the vote. The HOA gets the vote, and that again is divided between the members. So 13,000 people get a say, regardless of what your opinion is or not. Yeah.
I mean, so like that's the big thing. Like I said, I thought about it today, and I could sit there and I could watch him as we were sitting there talking, and I realized that he's doing the exact same thing that I used to be bad about and still have to stop myself sometimes from. And that's he already had answers for questions I hadn't asked. And it wasn't because it was knowledge. It was because he was ready to more or less let me know I was wrong. And so he was not listening.
Which means other people have complained and said the same shit.
Well, no. I think it's even worse than that. I think it's more along the lines of the, how it is when you're not actually truly listening to somebody. And
tell me about that.
You're not really listening. You're just hearing what they're saying, and you're listening just long enough. You're keeping quiet basically so that you can open your mouth up again instead of listening to the actual problem. And city council's job is to sit and listen to what the city has to say and then take action based on what the city has to say.
Well, we're also dysfunctional on that because if you look at the bylaws and the way everything's set up, our city manager is not the top person. They're not the mayor. They're not the CEO. They're on the bottom. She serves at the will of the city council.
Right.
It's not how we're really operating right now. Right now, the city council is like, well, whatever the city manager says, that's what we're going to do. And we're going to back the city manager. No, they're supposed to be, like you said, listening to the people and pushing for the people's resolutions, suggestions, and then giving her directions. If we can fix that, and that's why I don't like firing people. I think she has some skills. I mean, she obviously runs the city to an extent, has knowledge in that regard, but she is dictating the city council. That's wrong. That's broken. That needs to be fixed immediately if we want to have any chance at fixing Seabrook and getting us back on track. She's been here too long. You can't say she's going to change something. You got 10 years, 11 years, however many years of her track record. Nothing's going to change. Right. It's going to be that way or the highway. That has to change. So any city council member or person running, if they don't have on their agenda that they're going to fire this city manager and bring in a more forward thinking and every year actually review their progress. Because I don't see how you could. I'm sure they do something to review her and to give her a bonus or whatever, but I'd love to see those metrics. Because
if I found out she got a bonus, I don't know.
She's already scheduled to get a bonus. Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. What are
Who
the
the
metrics?
manager
And that should be public. That should be, man, that's great. Our city manager has done this.
and deserves
Not,
a
I've
bonus.
paid 50 grand. I've paved the Seabrook Yacht Club $50,000 to fix their road that only those people get to use. That's not a bonus. I've not brought in any other businesses. I'm trying to run the EDC and be a city manager when you're not even doing a good job as a city manager. What are those metrics that are saying you as a city manager are doing good? We've lost several businesses and we have no growth coming in. Your number one priority is to make sure you cover that. You also had no awareness of the apartments the last minute. There's nothing there. She's a nice person. She has good communication skills. She knows the ins and outs of running the city per se. But is it benefited us as residents to the point of the scale we're paying her?
I'd also contend. Hold on. I'd also contend that those are all not necessarily great qualities.
No, that's what you're supposed to do.
Those are all the qualities that you could have and be a really good criminal as well. I mean,
True.
And
again, we're not saying that. We're not saying she's criminal. We don't know of anything illegal that she's done.
Nope.
But these conflicts of interest and these things, and then just looking at the bare minimum. If your hotels are failing, your businesses are failing. If your businesses are failing, what the heck are you doing as a city?
Right.
And how do you take care of your residents? The X in this, it's not even unknown, it's a known, is that your taxes are going to go up 100%. And they're going to continue to go up because we have bad management of our city and no businesses to pay that tax. We have plenty of citizens that support it. Heck, would you rather support it through a business and that business pays the taxes, or would you rather pay for it straight up, you, and then have nothing? We're going over the bridge more than we're staying on our side.
And by the way, that means your house note goes up. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Like, people don't understand when we say we're talking about taxes, your house note goes up, or city in sales tax goes up. I mean,
and there's a reason people don't go move. Throws of people don't go move to the country just to go look at wildlife, which is our whole perspective, is that we have wildlife and all these preserves and whatever else. That's great, but that's not why that's not the only or main reason people move here. They're moving for a solid school system, and they're moving here for the view, the area.
I came here for local business. Like, I loved the city with all the local businesses. Like, so Taco Bell's about to come in. And so when you talk about local restaurants, there used to be a Subway. There's not even a Subway anymore. So McDonald's, Dairy Queen. Who else is a? We
just got that business from West Columbia, in the new Hooters. So that is a business coming here.
Yeah, but no. I'm not talking about new businesses. I'm talking about
existing
chain businesses.
Well, we used to have a lot of chains.
So, but they're gone. Thank God. That was one of the things we wanted to get rid of, was like, we wanted to shape our people to be around small town, Nantucket style businesses. And you just don't have any chains here.
Well, and no one's going to come from outside this area to go to a Taco Bell or a McDonald's.
No.
So how are you getting people to come into this city to fund the businesses we have that brings more taxes? McDonald's and Taco Bell are literally just for us. And it's bad for health. It's bad for you're gonna have low income people going into those areas, unfortunately, because it's cheap food. I mean, there's a lot of metrics that you need to look at beyond just the physical restaurant itself. Yeah, we gained a restaurant per se, but are those the restaurants we really want? And are those the ones that's going to bring people from outside this area? No, they're going to go over to Kima. They're going to go over to Kima. But look at the clientele that Merlion has. Look at the people that go there. Look at the money that supports that business. So that is what we want. We need more Merlions. We need more. Backyard is finally coming around. I am so proud that they've stuck it out. Yeah, I can't imagine that they were running profit for a while. I mean, I think now they're really turned around.
And it's a freaking awesome restaurant, and they've got great service, and they're really
cool place to hang out.
Yeah. And like really great cocktails, like everything you can think of. Backyard is awesome. Backyard, Mackyard. And then Agnes and Viola. Agnes and Viola was ranked one of the best soul
God,
food.
we should have. See, that's the type of business. Give them $300,000 to come in and take over.
No, give them $300,000 to buy the building they're in so that they can beautify it.
or that too. Yeah.
I mean,
but I still want to see that. I think they should be pushing 100% to build out Old Seabrook, because if Old Seabrook was thriving, everything else would be it would be hard to get business here. You would have people lining up, and it should be that way. And the sad part is we look across the water and Kima's just going like crazy with businesses, and they have less people than us. They also, even South Shore over there, what, 1,200, 2,000 people, something like that. Even their little area, they're probably making more in taxes than we are off the big businesses that are there.
Yeah. I don't know. East League City and Kima are the places to live.
It's sad, and I know we can do better.
Yeah.
I know we can do a lot better. So I don't want to get depressed about this before Christmas. JP,
don't just smile.
guys, I'm laughing with tears.
Right. So here's the thing. Like this is all we're going to wrap it up because it's time to go, and it's time for you to go spend some time with your family for Christmas. This is the last episode for the year. Next episode to be released on January 9th. We're going to be recording it on January 8th. We've thought about changing our format and doing a 2-day podcast where we release on Tuesdays and Thursdays in 30-minute sections. It's a pretty big deal. I'm going to make a separate video about it, wishing y'all a Merry Christmas as well. But we want to know, because honestly, right now, that's one of those things that it's not like it's a huge secret. I'm running for city council. I'm also the producer of the show. And so it's very time consuming for me to be the one that stops and edits and all that stuff. If I made, $1 billion a year, I wouldn't care. I'd just pay somebody to do it for me. But unfortunately, that's just not where we're at. And this is something that I pour my heart, soul, and money into, and we enjoy it, but we're trying to make it more palatable for you guys, our viewers. And we want it to be easier for y'all to want to watch. And so again, we always ask you to like, comment, and subscribe. But we actually had somebody specifically ask, how do you ask questions? How do you post comments? And we're directing them to the Facebook page or to YouTube, either one. And so guys, we're ready. Next year, we're losing the Minute Maid Park. It's going to be Dyken Park.
That sounds terrible.
It's not. It's DAIKI.
I know, but aren't they also an HVAC? So they suck a lot.
Well, no. It's not HVAC. Right. So it's we're actually getting good upgraded HVAC in the place. So we actually gonna be cool. The past couple of times I've been, it's been freaking hot. So, but anyway, anyhow, y'all, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. We will see y'all next year. We've already got some people lined out.
Yeah, our next guest, Tino Urbina, been high-level executive sales manager for a number of years, owns some of his own companies. He'll be coming on in the new year, and we got some other cool guests lined up as well that we'll talk as we get into them and get closer. But we're really excited for the new year, as well as you always get us. So that's exciting. Did you freeze?
Seriously. No. So, guys, we love you guys. Again, like, comment, subscribe,
share,
and share a lot. We're good people.
Sharing is caring.
Good people. And pass. Puff.
Yeah.
Not puff, pass.
We have $1 million giveaway if you share to 1 million people.
Right. Enter to win if you share too. At least.
Yeah, if you've shared 1 million, you can enter to win $1 million. So
right. So
that's a joke.
All right, guys. Yeah, definitely a joke. We don't have the kind of money.
Peace. We need a sign out. I got the peace.
Yeah. Peace.